I'd like to call the Joint Special School Building Committee to order. It's Thursday, April 2nd, 2020. We're doing an online meeting originating out of the Nashua City Hall Auditorium at 7 p.m. I would like to read the statement regarding our online meetings. As chair of the Joint Special School Building Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporarily to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the government's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are using WebEx for this electronic meeting. All members of the Joint Special School Building Committee have the ability to communicate contemporarily during this meeting using this platform, and the public has access to the contemporary listen via phone number 978-990-5298. The password is 273974. We previously gave notice to the public regarding information to this meeting, and the instructions have also been placed on the city website, providing a mechanism for public to alert the public body during this meeting if there are any problems. We do not have a phone number set up, but if you have a problem using that number and hearing us, you can text any of the alderman, last name, first initial, at NashuaNewHampshire.gov. Adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access. If the event the public is unable to access the meeting via that phone number I just gave you, and we are notified, we will have to adjourn the meeting. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking the roll call attendance. Each member that states their present, and plus also state whether anyone is in the room with them during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So, would Mr. Guarino please call the roll?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alderman Dowd?
Present. I am off site doing distance COVID-19 prevention, and I am alone.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Harriet Gathright? He was here a minute ago. Linda, Alderwoman Gathright, can you hear me? You seem to have lost contact. Oh, yeah, oh, there she is. Ms. Gathright? Oh, okay, I'll come back to her. Alderwoman Clee?
Here, and I'm in City Hall.
Alderwoman Lou is not present.
What happened?
Oh, there you are. Alderwoman Gathright? We're having technical difficulties. Alderwoman Wilshire?
I am present.
And you're by yourself?
I am at City Hall.
She's in the auditorium.
Okay. Ms. Bishop?
I'm here.
Are you there? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Ms. Bishop is here. Ms. Gathright, is that you?
No.
Ms. Bishop, would you tell us why you're attending offline and that you can hear us and you're alone, and why you're offline?
I can hear you. I'm at my house practicing social distancing. There will probably be children running in and out, so alone is an understatement, but as the only adult here, yes.
Okay.
Ms. Gathright, can you hear us? Okay. Ms. Brown?
I am present. I am
practicing social distancing also. I am at my house and there is no one else in the room right now.
Thank you. Ms. Gilio?
I am here at home and I have been at home for 20 days now. I am practicing very social distance.
Mr. Guarino is here practicing social distancing. I am alone by myself. Ms. Raymond?
Yep, I'm here. I am at my home practicing social distancing. I am alone in the room, but like Miss Bishop, I have children who may wander in at some time.
Also with us tonight, we have Ms. Timmons.
Here, and I'm alone.
Okay. We have Mr. Smith.
I'm here alone in my office.
Mr. Donovan.
Mr. Donovan, you're on mute.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Can you hear me?
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
You're on mute.
I'm sorry, I'm here and I'm alone in my home.
Linda Gathright sent a message. She is here. Can you hear us, Ms. Gathright? Can't seem to call in. She's having technical difficulties, but she is.
Yeah, before we go any further, we have a quorum.
Yep, we have a quorum. Also with us is Mr. Dubois.
Present. Coming from the world headquarters of Harvey Construction, and I am alone.
Mr. Lee.
Present, joining remotely from Maine.
Okay, and Mr. Ouelette.
Also present, and I'm joining also from Maine remotely.
All right, very good. Roll call. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting of January 23rd, 2020?
I move that we approve the minutes from the previous meeting, January 23rd, 2019. 2020.
Okay. 2020.
I will second.
2020.
We don't need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Would you take the roll to approve the minutes?
Okay. On the motion to approve the minutes, Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harriet Gathright.
She actually left and she's going to come back in.
Okay. Alderwoman Clee. Alderwoman Clee.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Alderwoman Wilshire.
I am here. I mean, yes.
Ms. Bishop.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Gilio.
Yes.
Mr. Guarino votes yes. Ms. Raymond. Is that a yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Motion carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 0. Motion carries.
Yeah. Normally we'd accept those minutes by just without further objection, but I wanted to see how the voting was going to go. Just to make sure we get the voting process down. All right, tonight, this is our first of online meetings of the Joint Special School Building Committee. I'm glad you're all here. I just wanted to mention that the middle school project has been, hasn't slowed down. Things are progressing quite well, as we'll hear in a minute. Shawn Smith and I had to approve some minor contracts to keep this thing going. And if you have any questions after I mention what they are, you can ask them. But one was to MMI for additional borings for fairgrounds in the road so that we know what we're getting into and we improve that road around the school. That was $5,100. I approve that. At the temporary classroom for Fairgrounds Middle School, we had to let a contract to do I believe the foundations, right, Shawn?
That's correct.
And that was $1,500 that Shawn approved. And then RFP Associates, the hazmat plans, which are critical to the project, that was $10,000, and that's been approved. If there are no objections, I'd like to ensure that everybody's okay with those. Anybody has any concerns, let me know right now. Seeing none. Remarks by school administration. Shawn?
No, I will save those when we get into the rest of the business.
Okay. Mr. Donovan?
Not at this time.
Okay. Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Just to say that I've been in touch with the architects and we do have meetings set up for the new building and the architects to talk to staff next week.
Excellent. Okay. Items for discussion. The first that we'll have is the architect's report from HARRIMAN. Who's going to take that?
I will. I'll give a summary of where we're at. So I'll kind of go through each school. I think that'll be a good way to do it so that everybody's kind of clear. Overall, just a higher level summary is that the COVID-19 pandemic did kind of shuffle things around a little bit for a moment. But we at the HARRIMAN are all on board. We're working remotely. And we're making great progress now that we kind of settled up at home and are able to, be going full head. We're communicating left and right via conference call like this or on the phone constantly. So just as an overall summary, progress because of the COVID was slowly stunted, but it has kept going since then and is in full swing. At Fairgrounds Middle School, we issued schematic design at the end of now it's the 2 months ago in February. Pricing came back from Harvey recently, and it appears to be good news from Harvey. I'll let them report their good news. We're making progress toward issuing an early structural package so Harvey can bid with the hopes that the steel and rebar can be ordered in time for potential constructions in the summer. Today, I just spoke with the Nashua Building Safety Department to discuss options for some initial review, what they're doing, how they're operating, despite in light of the COVID epidemic. Seems like they'll be willing to review some early PDFs. We're going to send them our schematic design. And then I'm also going to send them a narrative of some scope so they can start looking at it. And then Mr. Collins is his name. He's going to return a call to me and maybe exchange some emails so we can kind of work through some of his questions. So that all is going very well and moving ahead at Fairgrounds. Over at Pennachuck, we're still making excellent progress there on the schematic design set. The initial intent for that project was to issue schematic design for that last week. And again, a little bit with the COVID epidemic starting up, it kind of stunted a little bit of our work. So we actually shifted it a couple weeks. So we're actually looking at April 9th to issue that project for schematic design. We don't envision that being an impact to the overall project. It's just kind of an intermediate date that is in there that we just had to shuffle a little bit. So the DD level or the construction document level might squeeze up by a couple weeks to help make up some of that time. At the new middle school, also due to some of the COVID relations and then some scheduling conflicts we had, our programming meetings were held up a little bit. But as Donna indicated a few moments ago, we've rescheduled those meetings for next week and expect that we'll get right back on track with that project. That's all I have for a summary at this time.
Jamie, just for the edification of those that might not know, can you go over the 3 levels of drawings, the schematic, detailed design and the build?
Yep. So schematic design is so we start off with concept, which was in our reports back last year. We've moved into schematic design now, which is starting to build the project to a little bit refined from the concept design where we have the programming discussions start getting in depth. We start showing more information on drawings. It's a lighter level detailing than later they'll come later, and it allows the owner to review that level of design with just the layouts of the buildings and some of the major infrastructure components like big mechanical units and electrical work and site work at a very broad level. Once that kind of gets signed off by the owner, we move into design development phase. That refines it to the next level. It really starts to narrow in the systems we're going to use. That starts to look at details of how components go together. And then once that gets, again, signed off by the owner, we move into construction documents. At that point, it kind of locks in the plan, and we really start running forward with the design details and so that anything we're showing at that point, the contractor can build the buildings. Once we finish construction documents, we hand it over to Harvey, and then they're going to do their bidding phase, where they're going to get subs. And they'll come back with the cost, and then they move into construction phase from that point.
Just so you know, the further along we go in these drawings, the less likely is we're going to change anything, especially when we get into construction drawings. It's too expensive. So we're not going to be doing changes at that point. So as we go through, they will be getting the various levels of approval, both from this committee and also the city's planning department. So the drawings will also be reviewed to some degree by the full Board of Education and the school district, so that we're all on the same page. Okay. Mark, did you want to add anything?
No, I think that covered it pretty well. I think to your point, Rick, we're going to do everything we possibly can, given the circumstances, to share the design as we move forward, so that we're communicating with everyone and following up. I know that was part of the discussion we had when we began after the referendum, just making sure that we get out to everyone to see everything. So we're going to do everything we can to communicate and give people the opportunity to weigh in.
Also, I've been working very closely with Sarah Marchand, and she is going to be helping us expedite the approval process for fairgrounds due to the time frame and everything that's going on. So that will go very well. Jessica, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just curious about how frequently we're going to be able to get together and be updated for that approval process as we get closer to, especially the new build. Are we going to get to weigh in before the drawings get too far along?
Absolutely, because once they're that far along, we're not going to be changing anything. So it's very, very expensive. So everybody will get a chance to look at things before we get to that point.
Rick, if I may.
Yep. Sure, Jamie.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on Ms. Brown's question. Yeah, we're working on how we're going to share plans. We can obviously send drawings to anybody that would want to see them, but digitally would be a great way to send those along. We also would like to meet with another round of the teachers and share the discussions we had initially to get to this point at schematic design. We had a discussion, we had meetings with them before. They made some suggestions and on layouts and things they'd like and not like, and we incorporated as much of that as we could into the drawings. So we'd like to come back and have another round with them, and maybe it's digitally at this point or remotely. We can do like go-to meetings and actually show our screen and point on things and let people chime in and also take control and ask questions. So that might be one way we approach that. But it's definitely intent, and the same can go with the board. We can try to do something like that as needed. But but that's the intent, is to still keep everybody involved and able to ask questions and see what's going on.
Okay. Trish, you said you wanted to see the plans. The plans for fairgrounds are the least thick, if you will. And Shawn and I have a copy of those, and they're, I don't know, what is it, 2 inches thick, and they're very, you get the smaller ones, and they're even then, they're large. They're, quite big. If there is, they can be sent, like we're sending them to the planning department electronically, but I think if you want to see them, they can get them electronically, but hard copies would be difficult.
I, if you don't mind, I would not want to get hard copies of it, but to be able to at least have them, and then I'd be very interested in getting the kind of like the meeting notes of what it was that the teachers that they met with found objectionable, and whether or not we can make those changes. I'd like to know, as the process goes on, what changes are being tweaked. As he was saying, something just may not work for the school, so they're going to make changes. I would be very curious to know what those are as we're going along. So that when the public is asking us questions about, well, did you get this input? Did you get that input? We as members of this board can turn around and say, yes, this is how it was designed. This didn't work for this reason, and these are changes that were made. So I'd like to kind of be brought into that process. We don't have to go to every meetings that they have with everybody, but if we could get some notes and some ideas of what's going on, I'd appreciate that.
So we will have notes from all those meetings, and Jamie and Donna will make sure that they get out, and everybody on the board will get a copy of the minutes, and anything that changes going forward would have to be approved by us. Jamie?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we can definitely share our programming meeting notes and the plans, as Rick suggested, digitally. Is very, very easy to get out to everyone. I think what we'll do is we can, if it works, we can send to Shawn, and then Shawn needs to distribute or wants to distribute to whomever. I think that may be the best way. And Shawn, correct me if I'm wrong, please.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, typically we'd have more face-to-face showing you the plans in a meeting, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe by the time we get building the new school, that'll change. But we will be sending stuff out electronically, and again, when we get to the construction drawings where they actually giving them to Harvey to hire people, there won't be many, if any, changes when you get to that point. Guarino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like the Board of Education to have buy-in to the approval. Before that, what you just said, before the plans go to bid. But I think that at some point we should have the board give its official okay to the process. So at some point in the process, I think that would be important.
Yeah, we'll. Annie, we certainly are going to get the input of the full board, and Heather can make sure that happens. The actual vote on anything that changes is in this committee. Trish, did you have something else?
No, other than to say, I think Alderman Gathright is still having some issues coming in and out. She's been sending me some texts, so, and we saw something that said she left, but just adding to that other thing, the other comment that I'd made, like I said, I don't want to make more work for anybody, but where we're not getting the physical views and getting the handouts, I think sending us as much information as possible or digitally is truly important. It makes it easier for us to make our decisions as well as to talk to the public.
So as we go along, Jamie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll probably have stacks of drawings, but there'll be drawings that can be shared that will give you a better picture of what's actually happening. There's a lot more detail in some of these drawings that get into that. If you try to print them, you're going to just fill your house with paper. You already got enough with all the homework you got. So we will find a way to make sure that everybody has access. So was there anybody else that?
Can I just add one more thing? At the next meeting, if we're going to have some kind of plans or something where we've always gotten presentations, I know through when we did the Board of Alderman meeting, we could see a presentation up on the screen. If that's at all possible, that would be great too.
It is possible to do that, and there's nothing that we need to share that way tonight. And we had to get this meeting together so we could approve some contracts and pay both Harriman and Harvey so that they can continue their work. If there's nothing else, Carl?
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Kind of parlaying off of what Jamie said earlier, we completed our schematic design estimate based on the documents that we received, and I'm pleased to report that we came in slightly under our original concept budget that we put together. So that's good news. So full steam ahead to the design development level on those drawings. We are gearing up, and I've been shuffling some people around here because I'm going to bring in some more forces to get through April into early May, because the way I see it, we're going to have schematic design estimate to do on Pennachuck. We've got to put a package out for the steel and the foundations for fairgrounds. Not too long after that, we're probably going to be expecting the DD documents on fairgrounds, and following right behind that would be the schematic documents for the middle school. So we're finally gearing up to get this thing going for you. What we've been up to lately, obviously, like I said, we finished the schematic design estimate, which was positive. I did have a meeting out on site with the power company to talk about the new transformer and location and how we were going to go about doing that. Also talked about how we were going to wire and power the portables that will be needed, which we'll be discussing here shortly, for temporary space. So that's all squared away in terms of the utility company. They have sent, the gentleman I established a work order. Let me stop right there. Established a work order with them. From there, once that meeting was established, which we had, it then goes into engineering. And I expect to hear back from engineering here in a couple of weeks on what the back charge is. Always electrical back charges. I'll find out what those are. Right now, we're carrying an allowance in the estimate, which I think we've got it covered. So we're all set there. Hopefully, it'll come in slightly under what we had. Beyond that, we also assisted Mr. Smith in terms of trying to come up with numbers for portable classrooms, which he'll be presenting to you a little later on here. So beyond that, we're starting to gear up, starting to look at a phasing plan for Pennachuck, so we can come to terms on how we're going to get through that project. And likely we've been tweaking the phasing plan for fairgrounds. Not a lot of changes, just in terms of how we're going to enter and exit the building, trying to segregate ourselves from the students and the staff. In a nutshell, that's what we've been up to.
Okay, just so people know that because of not being able to use the gymnasiums in the middle schools, we need portables at fairgrounds to be able to shuffle the students around so that they can do their work if the students are there. But even and that will be next school year, so we still need the portables.
Correct.
Okay, any questions for Harvey? Seeing none. Okay, invoice approval. Mr. Smith?
Yes, so again, there's a number of financial reports in your package. I'll just refer to the first one, which summarizes everything for you. But the invoices for tonight are to Harvey Construction for $5,000. That actually goes back to the phase one work, and that's their final invoice for that. In addition, Harriman has two invoices for, one invoice for Fairgrounds Middle School, $22,348.45. One for Pennachuck Middle School for $16,319.46. One for the new middle school, $9,214.08. So those are invoices that we would have approved at the last meeting, but did not because we canceled it. And then for the more recent month, again, three invoices, $59,891.52 for the new middle school, $48,914.18 for fairgrounds, and $32,563.60 for their work at Pennachuck Middle School. Finally, there's an invoice for Hayner Swanson. You recall they are our surveying firm. They did, the architect needed additional survey work done for Fairgrounds and Middle School, and that they completed that work and gave us the results, and their invoice for that was $16,059.45, and I recommend we approve all those invoices.
So I'll make a motion to approve the following payments on the invoices. Harvey Construction, $5,000. Harriman A&E, $189,251.29. And Hayner Swanson, $16,059.45. Are there any questions? Seeing none, please call the roll, Mr. Guarino.
Okay. On the motion to approve the invoices, Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harriet Gathright. I think she's on mute. Ms. Gathright. I'll come back to her. Alderwoman Clee.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Gathright, can you hear me now? She's still having problems. Okay. Alderwoman Wilshire.
Yes.
Ms. Bishop.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Gilio.
Yes.
Mr. Guarino votes yes. Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
Ms. Gathright, can you hear me, or maybe you can send us a written notice?
Saying yes, you can't hear her.
We still can't hear her.
He's saying yes.
And she's saying yes.
Okay, he said yes. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yeses. Motion carries 9-0.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is the RFP commissioning services. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so first of all, your question might be, what is commissioning? It's something we've done on every project. So I've been working for the city of Nashua dating back to the Emmer Street Elementary in the late 90s, both high schools and then the 5 elementary schools we completed this past decade. And keep it kind of short, they provide another set of eyes and ears for the architect, for the construction manager, and for us. And they are typically, well, they are engineers in their own right. Some companies do this as a sideline to the actual design work. Some are specialized in commissioning. We're not only commissioning the mechanical systems, but also the building envelope, which is basically the roof and the walls. So that's kind of what the process is about. I did write up a one-pager. It's in your package. So we sent the RFP out, and the results are, again, in your package. We received bids from 7 companies. The financial results are in your package on the one spreadsheet. Broke it down into 3 phases: design, construction, and then post-construction acceptance. And the different firms provided numbers in different ways, so I kind of kept everything in those 3 areas. The design number was fixed, but the construction and acceptance were their estimate. In some cases, some firms put that was a not to exceed number, but they did not all do that. On a second spreadsheet, I had evaluation criteria, and basically that was going through each proposal and checking the boxes. Yes, they provided, or no, they did not. On that spreadsheet, you can see some of my notes, and some of the blank areas, which I entitled no. Then in a earlier meeting between Alderman Dowd, myself, and the architects and Harvey, we went through the proposals somewhat briefly, but determined that due to costs, the firm that we used in the last the last two schools was way too high. That was SMRT. We've used CX Associates in the past. They did okay in those jobs, but we kind of focused on two firms that were kind of in the middle, RFS Engineering and Turner. Just a little bit on the other firms. The JFPS rather is basically a one-person firm, one engineer and one secretary. We determined that it was way too small for our job. NV5 is a recent company put together by venture capitalists. He absorbed an engineering firm that was somewhat local to us because of the change in management and the fact that a number of this other firm's employees left the firm once that merger happened. We decided that probably wasn't the good way to go. So again, RFS and Turner, and both are good firms. RFS did the engineering for the high school project. Turner did the engineering for Fairgrounds Middle School when it was last renovated in the 90s. And then they did the Amherst Street Elementary. And then they did the architectural and engineering work for Charlotte Ledge and Fairgrounds Elementary Schools earlier this decade. So both good firms. We felt that Turner was a little bit stronger in the building envelope, and that was pretty much a unanimous recommendation from our subcommittee.
Yeah, if I can interject, also going back 20 years that I've been involved with a joint special, we try to pick firms that are either local to Nashua or in New Hampshire if they meet the criteria that we need. Obviously, we wouldn't take one if they didn't. But two are very close, and we lean towards Turner because we have experience with them. They're in New Hampshire, and we highly recommend that we go with Turner. So does anybody have any questions, concerns? No? All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to award the commissioning contract to Turner.
So moved.
And the amount of not to exceed $272,000. Mr. Guarino made the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Guarino, would you call the roll?
On the motion to approve the contract with Turner, Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harriet Gathright,
Yeah.
Alderwoman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Wilshire,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
You're on mute.
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes.
Mr. Guarino votes yes. Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
motion carries 9-0.
Okay, Shawn, would you prepare the documentation to let Turner know?
Will do.
Hey, Mr. Smith, next is FMS, the William Scottman lease agreement.
Yes, so as Howard Dubois mentioned earlier, we need, and Alderman Dowd as well, we need swing space at Fairgrounds Middle School because the project will be starting this summer, but then continuing into the school year. And we are working in classroom wings and need to put those classrooms somewhere. We don't have the gym available to us because of the middle school's physical education is a state requirement. So I'd actually Harvey Construction did the bulk of the work and doing this. We're getting the quotes. The location of the portable classrooms, if you're facing the front of the school, will be the back left. For those of you that have been watching through the years, there was a portable classroom back there at one point. Gosh, at least 10 years ago, probably a little bit more before we took it out. So we have a need for 2 portable classroom buildings. Each building has 2 classrooms, so it's a total of 4. We need, again, the 2, and we have the total charges for each. Those are in your package. For the first building, it's $89,274.72. For the second one, $88,333.56. Both of these buildings will have handicap ramps going up to the front and an emergency egress out the back. We alluded earlier to the foundation plan, which is how these things will be attached and mounted. I think that everything's going to be collected electrically. They will have plumbing in them, so the restroom and bubblers will be active, and as well as pretty much anything in a regular school will have out there, intercom and whatever. So that's our recommendation, is to award those contracts to William Scotsman, Inc. in those 2 amounts that I mentioned.
Just to reiterate that when we put portables in like that, we just can't stick them in. We have to meet some stringent city and state requirements relative to how secure they are, water connections, electricity. So it's not like just driving up a motorhome and parking it. As you know, the ones at Pennachuck have been there like 20 years and seem to have been installed okay. So hopefully at Pennachuck, when we need to move people around, we can use those, but that's for another day. So we need these for fairgrounds. They're in the budget. So I would need a motion to award these 2 contracts to William Scotsman, Inc.
So moved.
Alderman Wilshire moved and made the motion. Mrs. Raymond, do you have a question?
I do, and I think Miss Brown had her hand up as well.
Oh, okay.
So I'll defer to her first, and then I'll.
All right, Mrs. Brown.
I was wondering if Mrs. Fitzpatrick or anyone from the district had been contacted. It seems that the intent of these buildings was to replace physical education, and so I wanted to make sure that we could use that within our state curriculum.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
My understanding is the modulars are going to be for academic classrooms, so we'll still have access to the gym. That's why the construction company and the school won't have the ability to use that space.
Yeah, when we were doing the elementary schools, what we were doing, the 5 schools we've done recently, is that we take the gymnasium and we split it up into classrooms and use that to move the people out of the classrooms we were working on. We can't do that at the middle school levels. We have to keep the actual gym open. But so when we're moving people out of classrooms in fairgrounds, we're going to have to move them into the portables while we do that work.
All right.
Any other questions? Mrs. Raymond?
I did. Thank you. I just, can you refresh my recollection? How long do we expect to be using these portables?
Jamie? You want to answer that? How long are we going to?
Yeah, I think it would be for just next year, and I'm not even sure it's the full year. I think Carl can help me out here. I think it's a 13 month construction period starting, so it'll be close to the next year. But yes, thank you,
Carl.
The lease period is 12 months.
12 months. Okay.
So we'll have them out there for 12 months.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
And then they disappear. Okay, so the motion is to approve.
Rick, I have a question.
Oh,
sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, you said that this is a 12-month lease, but then you said something about when we would start with Pennachuck, that it could possibly be used there.
No. We're
Okay.
going to use the two that are at Pennachuck. We have to move those to build the new addition on the Pennachuck. We have to move those two portables they have there now. We're going to move them another spot, which we can get into much later.
Okay, I guess my next question is, like I've always had an issue with the ones at Pennachuck, security wise. I noticed that you said that they've got handicap entrance and an emergency egress, but security wise, in the face of what we're going through year after year and so on, keeping our students safe.
Carl, do you want to handle that?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. What we will be doing out at, let me start with Fairgrounds. When they are installed, my goal would be to fence those off so there's no access from anybody outside. And then, as I said earlier, we're starting to look at the phasing plan on Pennachuck. My goal would be if we could build the additions and create the swing space that we need. I would love not to, and leave the portables where they are and space out the addition for the proposed library a little later. Trying to see if we can work it out where we won't need any portables at Pennachuck. We're not there yet, but we're taking a hard look at it. That's my goal. If I could get rid of the portables, once the new space is created, the new wings are created, that gives us some swing space, and we should be able to get rid of the portables, move people from the portables into the additions, and then we could do that work out front with the for the library. I'll have more to report on that as we go along, but that's the way I'm looking at it right now.
Any additional questions? Mr. Guarino, did you get what?
Rick, Shawn here. Just to add on to what Carl said with the fence, we'll also make sure we have security cameras back there so that the front office can see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Guarino, did you get the actual numbers for the motion?
I didn't get the numbers. It was 88. It's in the packet. It's in the 80,000s. I didn't get the exact number for each, but I can get it from the packet. I have it right in front of me, actually. Let's see. I get the invoice right.
Actually, I do too.
What did I do with it? I have $88,333.56 for one of them. Is that correct?
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, the other one. And the other one is $89,274.72.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve the lease agreement with Williams Scotsman Inc. In the amounts of $89,274.72, $88,333.56. I know we had a question from Mrs. Brown that on the phasing of these projects, those have changed a little bit since the last time because of all that's going on. But we do have an updated phase schedule, and we will be providing you with a copy of that via presentations as we go. Okay, so the motion.
I do have a quick question about where on the site they're going to be located on Fairgrounds. Will they be people able to see them from the street?
Carl? We don't hear you, Carl.
We can't hear.
Carl, we can't hear you.
Well, this is Shawn here. I'll answer for him. No, you won't be able to see them from the street.
They're in the back left-hand corner on the exit on that road that goes around the school. You won't see them.
Excellent. Okay, no more questions. I'm sorry.
All right.
Are you ready for the vote, Mr. Chair?
I believe so.
Okay. On the motion to approve the lease contract for the portable classrooms for Fairgrounds,
We're getting echoes. Somebody's got their speaker and mic on.
Might be me, I don't know.
Nope. All set.
Okay. Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderwoman Cleet. Alderwoman Cleet. Alderwoman Wilshire,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes.
Mr. Guarino votes yes. Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
motion carries 9-0.
All right. Thank you. Again, Shawn, would you take care of awarding the contracts?
Will do.
Okay. Enrollment projection overview. Who had that? Shawn? Or
I believe Mr. Donovan or Ms. Fitzpatrick provided those.
I think it was.
This is Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, those were the projections we received from the Nashua Regional Planning group. There's 3 different methods that they use. So when you look at it, you'll see three of the different methods, and they're somewhat alike. Some are they're all showing slight decreases in the number of students, which over the last few years we've seen whenever we've done one of these enrollment studies. Historically, the enrollment study tends to exaggerate slightly the decrease in enrollment. But keep in mind that these are put together using a formula. Mr. Guarino may actually have worked on these in the past. And they count things like births and net migration, and so they're making estimates. They certainly don't know how many children are going to be born next year. They don't know how many people are going to move in versus how many people are going to move out. But based on historical trends, that's what they put together. So that's the official enrollment study done by professional people. So I guess that's all I have to say to introduce it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Mrs. Raymond?
Thank you. Yes, I'm just wondering if all of the new construction and the new apartments that have been authorized in Nashua was taken into consideration in any of these. I know the construction that's already happened in the Dr. Crisp area, they're rapidly filling their school. And so now I'm looking at the Henry Hanger building and a couple other sites. Has any of that been incorporated into this data or projection?
Mr. Donovan?
If there was a building permit taken out, then they would have included it. If the permit had not been taken out, which I don't think some of them have, then it wouldn't be included.
Right. So you won't have the hangar building and the building that's going to go where Corvo Ruthia used to be. And there are a couple of other developments going in.
Yeah.
There's one on West Hollis Street. We found that over the years, these projections were pretty close to what we currently had. They would vary by a few students one way or the other. Sometimes they were over the projections. Sometimes they were just a little under, but not enough to modify a school.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else? No? Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else you wanted on Mr. Donovan from that?
That's all I have to say on that.
Okay. Budget overview, Mr. Smith?
Well, I believe we kind of already covered that, so it's in your package. There's a separate sheet for Pennachuck, Fairgrounds, and the new middle school. A separate sheet for the phase 1, which was conceptual work. and then a total sheet. And it all totals up to the total amount that we've had previously approved by the alderman.
Okay. By the way, I did get a question from a member of the public about, are we still going to do the middle school project, you know, because of the taxes going up so much. Just to reiterate on the bonding, the payment for the bonds over the course of every year is kept pretty level. Mr. Fredette makes sure of that. So no matter how many projects we have, the payment amount that comes out of the budget is pretty much level. So, and the two high schools are coming off, so it stays level. He keeps it that way. Anyway, so now we have comments by committee members. Does anybody like to comment?
Just wanted to make one comment. I had, if I could be heard, sorry.
Sure.
Thank you. I know it really does sound silly, and I put it as tongue in cheek, but this COVID virus is going to cause for a lot of births. So maybe these numbers will be going up.
Supposed to be taking 6 feet apart. But anyway, based on being a realtor and talking to realtors almost every day, there's a lot of construction going on. There's, you know, again, the numbers are pretty much going to stay the same. We don't have a lot of building space in Nashua, and whatever's there is being used now. I know the realtors and the developers are buying land as fast as they can and building on them. So, anyone else who has a comment? No? All right. We don't need a non-public. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Alderman Wiltshire made a motion to adjourn. Would you call the roll, Mr. Guarino?
Okay, on the motion to adjourn, Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderwoman Harriet Gathright,
Yes.
Alderwoman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Wilshire,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes.
Mr. Guarino votes yes, Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
motion carries 9-0. We're adjourned at 7:57.
All right. The next meeting is Thursday, April 23rd. And we'll be getting in touch with the details. And if we're going to have a presentation, we can do it on this format. What happens is when the presentation gets put up, it just, you don't see all the faces anymore, but they all go to the top. But all right. So good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Good night.
Maintain social distancing. See you.
Thank you.